This is our garden, which has been neglected and overgrown over the years. My name is Orion, this is Jess and Benji, and Lilia is now 5 months old. As a family, we have never had a garden, and we are super excited to restore and bring it back to its former glory. And if you hadn't guessed already, we've never done this before. So if you want to follow along as we transform this garden, make sure you hit subscribe to watch new videos every single Wednesday and Sunday as we embark on a brand new journey. In the last vlog, I acquired new tools and tried my best at tackling some of the overgrowth in our paddock. That being said, I didn't finish the job at the pond, and the grass has already started to well and truly grow back. And even though I amassed this incredibly huge pile of composting, the whole idea was to clear out the paddock ready for Benjamin's play area, which we have acquired, and it is now in place. My mum and Mark brought it down on the JCB, and we managed to fit it in at this end of the paddock here, and it's at a nice angle for now. Though I may endeavour later on just to shift it ever so slightly towards the edge of the gate here so it fits nicely in that space. I even trimmed back some of the trees. That's kind of that between vlogs as this was arriving and I needed to get it done. But even though I'm quite happy with where it is, this needs sorting out. I need to get rid of this fire pile and try and reseed this area here. So turning all the soil over and getting some grass seed down. Fingers crossed that grows back. And I need to figure out what to do with this compost area. As it's not actually meant to live there, it's just been put there because that's the compost area as it stands. So even though I was going to use wood chipping and stuff like that to finish off the pond, I'm going to hand those duties over to Jess, and she's going to show you what she gets up to later on in the vlog. And I'm going to finish what I started, essentially. I'm going to unearth all of this and get rid of this stinging weed bed and the broken down wall. And I'm going to attempt to kind of cut back where the compost area should go. Now, I don't have the strimmer that I had last time, so I'm not going to be able to get it completely cleared out today. Or maybe we'll see if I can borrow it again for later on in the video. But I do need to get rid of all these, I don't even know what they are. Bushes, trees, I'm not sure, but then it needs to go because it's well and truly overgrown. Once this area is cleared out, we can actually use it for composting again and slowly reclaim this area here and get it tidied up. So there is actually a nice area for the kids to play. After a little bit of searching using the internet and AI, it turns out that this tree here is a plum tree. Supposedly, you can't trust these apps 100%, but my phone tells me it is a plum tree, as well as like the what plant is this app, and these shoots that are coming up here identify as the same as a tree, which makes a lot of sense. Falls from there, it grows there. So a part of it, there's like an ethical part. I don't even know what the right term is. It feels a little odd about cutting all of this out. However, when they knock this down, this is all going to get gutted anyway. So what I endeavour to do here is only temporary before it all goes. So I'm going to cut all this out, clear it out, and just reclaim the land because it wasn't there before. So I'm sorry. If I could know or do something about that and like put it somewhere else, then I would, but there's nowhere else for it to go. It just has to be gone. Anyways, before I even think about tackling that, I need to sort this out. And the best way I found to do that is literally just to uproot it entirely by turning the soil over and trying to remove as many roots as possible just to get rid of the stingers. Later on, we're going to put weed barrier down and put the landscaping back on top anyway, but I think this is probably the best solution. Okay, with that little job picked up and done from last time, I have taken upon myself to make a couple of phone calls and speak to some professionals about what to do about this. As it turns out, this is indeed a plum tree, and these are what you call suckers. And they do exactly as their name says. They suck life away from the actual plum tree. Now, my theory is because there is ivy currently growing up that tree, it's probably sucking the life out of it and suffocating the big old tree. So these suckers have popped up here to essentially bring life back to the tree, but they have a backwards effect in that these grow out and it takes away from the main tree. So what I've been advised to do is to get as low as possible to the roots. I'm not going to unearth them and dig them all up because I'll be here all day and it's not really that necessary, but get as low as possible and chop them out using my loppers because they are getting quite chunky now. I might even need to use a saw on some of these because I don't know how my loppers are going to handle that. As good as these are, so glad I picked them up. They actually struggled against like the barbed wire bush that I did in the front bed, and these are These are rather big. I would love to actually get, maybe in the future I probably will do, is a reciprocating saw. It's one of the many DeWalt tools I don't actually own, but that would be really handy for here.
All right, this should be as easy as it looks. It's gonna go as far down as possible. Get the lockers in there. Oh. Actually, these lockers might be all right, you know. Ouch. Okay. This one's a biggie. Maybe not. Oh, yeah. That was a chunky one.
I'm pretty sure that is the biggest one there, so we should be okay to clear out the rest. Man, that is hot, exhausting work. It's 18 degrees today and I am melting. However, I would like to say that I've put a very sizable dent in this area. It just needs tidying up a little bit. Like there's still some little bits here and the grass is a little bit long. I am definitely not turning all of those weeds over. The thought of digging out all of those stinging nettles is not appealing. The fact that I actually went round with these shears and cut the grass and all of the nettles was not on my agenda. I was only meant to get rid of the big branches, but I was like, to get to them I needed to trim it back, and I ended up clearing out most of the floor. So won't need a strimmer anymore, because that is one big pile of nettles and a bigger pile of suckers. I have to admit though, it looks so much better now that it's all reclaimed. The garden is coming along beautifully. But whilst I have been doing all of this, as I mentioned earlier, Jess has been tackling the pond area and doing what I hope to actually do this vlog. Not so labour intensive and actually a little bit more enjoyable, planting and putting in the new bed that we did last time. But let's check in and see how she got on.
Hi all, before we get started on what we're going to do today, I thought I'd give you a recap on the planters that I made in the last couple of vlogs. So this is one of the first planters, and the reason I actually wanted to show you guys is because they're not looking too great, some of the plants. Some are thriving, so this one's doing really well, blooming, and it's lovely. This one looks great. This one, no, not so much. This one looks okay, and again, this one not so much. We have lost a head. I've pulled it off. I'm not sure if that's the right thing to do, but my thought process for this is the drainage isn't very good, and I did wonder that. There's also a piece of glass in there, which is concerning. So I don't know if you guys have any tips for that. As you'll see from this planter, they do look great. So we've got these blooming in the corner. These have started to sprout some. Again, these looking great, blooming. Everyone looks happy in this planter, and equally my first planter looks great as well. We're really starting to get some nice growth on these at the back, and then also this one is now growing here, which is looking great. So as you can see, the flowers are doing okay. It's just that those two plants that I'm a little bit concerned with. I do think, however, that all three of the planters could do with raising their levels a little bit more, so adding some more compost or something, just to get them a bit higher up, because as I say, some of those are trailing plants and they've got quite a long way to go to actually trail over the side. So I do think we should raise those a little bit. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about those two in particular. I do think it's definitely a drainage issue, which is interesting. I don't know if it's the different type of compost, because the very first planter we did, I used a different type of compost, and that looks and it seems to absorb a lot better than the other one. The recent one did contain peat, so I'm not sure if that is an issue. I know when growing up with my dad and stuff, we would use a lot of peat compost, and then when I got into the allotment a few years back, a lot of it would talk about peat as if it was almost terrible to use. So please let me know your opinions on peat and non-peat compost, because I'd be interested to read about that. As Lilia is now having a snooze, I thought we could talk about what I'm going to get up to today. So unfortunately last time we didn't have time to plant Chris and Mandy's plants that they sent over to us. They have sent us such a lovely different range of plants, which I think will look absolutely lovely in that area next to the pond. If you watched the last vlog, you'll know that this was completely covered in nettles. So I think a good place to start with this bed is weed prevention. We've got ourselves some landscape bark chippings, which will look great for a decorative purpose, but also it will protect the plants and help suppress the weeds in the bed. We also are going to use some of the lining that I used on the planters in the last vlog, again just to stop weeds from coming through, and we'll cut holes as to where we're going to put the plants. I think it will also be really nice to really clean that pond and get it crystal clean, have the fountain running so that it oxygenates the water, and then maybe look at the idea of getting fish. I'm not sure if there's any pond experts out there about what fish we could get in there. It's a bit small for koi, although I think you can get smaller koi, but I'm not sure if they're just the babies. So let me know what are your thoughts on getting fish. I personally love fish. I love fish that much that I created a presentation for the directors at my workplace to get us some fish in the office, and it worked. So I have my babies. I hope they're all okay while I'm on maternity leave. Luckily this pond did come fully kitted out, so we have got the water feature in there, which is not currently on at the moment, but it would be nice to have this running to keep the pond oxygenated and hopefully have a nice clean pond. It is looking rather swamp-like at the minute. It does look very sorry for itself. There is, however, a few pond skippers having a great time on there, but the rest of it is not looking so lively. So that is enough yapping from me. Let's actually get on with this bed, because I have a very impatient Benji who wants to get stuck into some gardening today. Firstly, I'm going to dig up a bit of soil. The reason for this is so that when we have finished it's not so raised. We're hoping for this bed to be quite level with the grass. I am also creating a gradient up to the top of the water feature. Once I'm happy with the amount of soil I've taken out, I will get a rake and I will get this all nice and flat ready for the fabric. Then I will get the weed preventive fabric and roll this out across the entire bed. I do overlap the two layers slightly, and then I will cut around with scissors near the pond and the edge of the bed, and you can use those as well for near hard areas to cover, like near the rocks. Now that the whole of the bed is covered by the material, it's time for the landscaping bark. So we just dump this into the middle and then spread it out as best as you can. I did find towards the end that it was easier just to spread it with my hands. As you will see, I changed my mind here. Now that Orion has cleared this side of the pond, I can just repeat the process again on this side. So there we are, we've all barked it. It looks great, I think. Look at that. Now we have both sides of the pond covered and ready for planting. I think it already looks so much better. All I'm going to do now is pop the plants into that bed and then it should all be finished. And to do that, all I'll do is just cut a hole in the fabric where I put that, plant it straight into the ground. Fingers crossed it'll be all okay. We may compost a bit later on if it isn't. And yeah, we'll just see how it goes from there. So I've now mapped out where I want all the plants to go. So let's go ahead and get these planted. I'm also going to give Benjamin a little job, and he's going to use this pile of rocks here to line the border as a little fence. So let's get into it. And there we go, one quick shower and change later, but I have now finished the pond area. We'll see how the plants survive. I'm not sure about whether I've put them in the right places or planted them with the right things, but we'll see how they get on. This one in particular I keep forgetting is even here because it's just blending in. But this is the finished bed.
And I have to say, I am actually very impressed with how this all looks now. It's so much nicer to pull into the house and see this all presentable compared to how it was when we first started with all the nettles and things like that. well worth it. It's actually been a full day since we did this, and I got a little bit carried away in this area. I actually ended up committing to the shears and continued to shear everything out. I even went as far as to pull a lot of the roots and stems that were sticking out the ground because it was just annoying me. It still doesn't look great, to be honest. However, I have come up with a bit of an idea. It's to first completely empty this bag of logs, which I have no idea how long it's been there. I don't even know if it's usable, but we're going to move that completely. If I pull the bag, it all just rips apart. And I am currently toying with the idea of laying landscaping back in this entire area. Maybe fabricing it as well, because we have so much excess fabric left over. But because the pond area looks so nice, and because I don't really want the weeds to come back and it just be irritating, it would really rejuvenate this entire area if I landscape back it all. But it's quite costly, so it's not going to happen anytime soon. My idea, however, is if we add like a kind of a fence along here and L-shape this corner off, we can put some man-made composting bins here, and we'll have a nice area for Jess to do her like planting and potting, and we can have like, not this particular bench, we could probably repurpose it and actually make an area for plants and pots. Originally, I was just going to move this entire compost that I've dumped here and just dump it here, but it kind of feels a bit counterintuitive after clearing all of this out, gaining the space to just dump new stuff on it. So that's currently my idea. The idea behind like putting fabric down and landscape back is that it'll last roughly like 2 years before it starts to become like, you know, weeds start showing through and stuff like that. It's never going to be perfect, but as we know, we've only really got 2 years here. It's like the perfect solution for now, and it will just tidy this area up so much better and gives an area for Jess to do like her veg and her fruit and stuff like that. That's sectioned off, and the kids won't pick and play, because Benji does have a tendency to pick flowers. But yeah, I think that'll actually end up looking quite nice. If we upcycle some pallets or some wood off free to collect, we can create our own man-made like compost bins here, which I believe you're meant to tier. I think there's like 2 or 3 tiers of compost stages that you're meant to do anyway. And if we have it there in a man-made area, then it keeps it neater and it doesn't grow and like get everywhere. I just think it will, generally speaking, just be nicer to do it there. But that is my vision for the area that I have slaved away at clearing today. It honestly changes the paddock completely. Not only do we have this really lovely area here and more of like a garden section, but we now have gained all of this, which when, you know, you landscape it and put fencing in and create little tables and stuff like that, I think it will just look lovely. As always in these vlogs, I bit off more than I could chew, and my expectation was to move this and reseed it, as well as move that and start clearing this area out. I haven't even touched it. It took me like the whole, like, I think it was like 2 days worth of vlogging just to clear this section out itself, and obviously helping Jess. The thing is, with us both filming, we kind of have to take it in turns with Lily when she's not asleep. You can kind of get a little bit done when she falls asleep. For the most part, we need to take it in turns, so it takes a little bit longer. So I think I need to, you know, restrain my ambition from like trying to get too much done. However, it does give me yet again more clear out to do in the next vlog. I don't know how much of this I'm going to tackle. Maybe just hedge it back a little bit. Whilst it would be nice to completely clear it out, it's so overgrown that a part of me wishes I had a bigger machine to do it, and I might have to ask Mark really, really nicely if he has any machinery that could just scrape this all off really quickly for me, and then it's just a job done. I don't have to worry about it. Plus, it'd be a really nice feature to show Mark in his tractor or whatever. The likelihood of that happening is incredibly slim. I'll have to work my charm and maybe buy him some Coke or something. I don't know. I'd buy him alcohol, but he doesn't really drink. So yeah, we're gonna save this section out for the next vlog and attempt to put some grass seed down. But we mustn't forget about the front bed, as weeds are starting to creep through, so I need to do some weeding around here. And as always, I like to show a little bit of love to the Patreon supporters, as well as the people who buy the merch and support me on YouTube and go that extra mile by planting you in my garden. And today, Kaylee is joining us with this beautiful flower amongst all of the other legends that we've got planted so far, as she and her partner watch the vlogs and they put in a huge order on orionwhittle.com and picked up some merch themselves. So let me know in the comments if you're watching this, Kaylee, when you receive your order, what you think of the clothing. I've had really good feedback so far. If you want to grab yours, links on screen as always, or in the description, you can find it there. But yeah, a big thank you. Honestly, not only did she subscribe on Patreon, but she went again and ordered a load of stuff off the store as well. So I can't thank you enough. Some of the support that, like, everyone shows on this channel is it baffles me sometimes, but I really appreciate it. I can't wait to actually bump into someone who's wearing this stuff out and about. If you've actually got some merch already and you want to send me a photo, then go to my Instagram and tag me on there. I think I'm just at OrionV7 on Instagram. I never ever promote my Instagram, but yeah, tag me if you get some merch and you take some photos. I'd love to see it. But after another day of making the most of our countryside home, I want to thank you all for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you've enjoyed this video and you want to see more, then make sure you leave a thumbs up rating. I appreciate that. It goes a really long way. It helps the video reach more people, and it is quite time consuming and a lot of effort goes into putting these things together. So anyone who's made it to this far in the video, thank you so much. And if you are new to my channel, you want to hit subscribe, it doesn't cost you anything, it's completely free. You don't have to go the extra mile and become someone who gets planted in my garden, as weird as that sounds. But anyways, guys, it's been Orion. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace, much love. Bye bye.
Test. So last time we didn't have enough time to plant the plants that plant.